Hello, I'm Daudi.
And I'm Becky.
And this is Fasi,
the show where we make way for women to get into this political conversation.
And today we're having a conversation on culture and how it affects women from getting into this leadership sphere, especially around bride price and marriage.
And joining us to further the conversation, we have Charity Ahimbisiwe, Head Communications and Advocacy at SEDU.
And we have Flavia Kalule Nabagabe, who is a politician and the leader of the Women's League at People Power.
So without further ado, let us
Make way and make some noise.
Look at the morals of today, because you are adapting this Bazungu life. For us, it is about belonging to your culture. First of all, see the oils they smear you, the woman. That tells you, you know, those bad things that you should not do. Diseases will afflict you. There are many things that happen to the clan because you've adulterated what you are anointed on.
Okay.
So we have strong beliefs in marriage. Marriage is good bonding. Marriage is security itself. Security to the clan, security to the tribe, security to the lady. Because the idea of thinking she has been brought for punishment is not true.
You're still watching Fasi. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we were in Moroto, as you have seen in the nicely put together highlight reel. And we had a conversation around bride price and marriage and how those get in the way of women vying for political office, the systems of those things. And of course, we are joined by Flavia and Charity to just help us break down this conversation.
Exactly. Now, following off the backdrop of that, a week ago, I was having a conversation with young ladies who were unmarried, and many of them don't want to get married. So the question for me arising currently, is bride price and the pressure of marriage a setback for a woman who wants to get into politics?
Once somebody has paid up for you, they expect you to run by their processes. Let's think of you as a duli, that I control you from somewhere because I paid for you. So I must show my control over your life. And so bride price as a whole is a bad idea. When I was getting married myself, my dad said, don't even think about bride price because I don't sell my daughters. I love them to the core. I love my girl like anything else. So if you want my girl, just have her, but love her. Promise me, all you'll do for her is love her the way she is. And when he groomed me, he empowered me. He told me you're the best thing that has ever happened to the world. And he told me you're intelligent. He told me you're beautiful and you can make the world go round for yourself. So he empowered me, and right from the time I grew up, I knew I'm the best. I knew I am brilliant. I knew I am nice. But imagine if he was a countryman in the village, a poor man, would he have the same perspective like what he did for me when I was getting married?
That's interesting. Do you hold the same school of thought, Flavia?
So growing up, I was told that a girl, you know, when you give birth to a girl, the first impression and the first thing that people say culturally, especially here in Buganda, is Ozadeka Sukali. Basically, meaning you have given birth to a commodity, to sugar, salt, whatever it is. Because basically they start looking at a girl as a commodity that is going to bring in things into a home, which is different from a guy's point of view. When a boy is born, they say, oh, you've given birth to a leader. You've given birth to the head of the clan. You've given birth to a fighter. You know, it is the things, all the right names, right in quotations because of our perceptions in society. So you start looking at this girl, nurturing this girl, grooming her to be a wife, grooming her to be the right person that is going to bring in commodities into your place. And if she doesn't know how to do the gender roles, the roles for the home, for the wife, supposedly to be for the girl and for the wife, then it means that person is not going to bring in as much wealth as anticipated. So then it brings us to the question of, if we have fathers that say, now kati mwala wange osomye nnyo yo etc ente zeeyongeddemu. It is no longer 2 cows, it is now 5 cows. He needs to come with 5, or he needs to bring 10 cows because your value keeps going.
Appreciated.
Yeah.
But I've had people who have gotten married,
yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And the girl is like, for me, tusobola kuleeta buntu bwe buti You know, you have to show up and, you know, show people that you love me by bringing this and this and this and this and this and this and that.
And that's where
Because normally the assumption
is,
is, you know what, it is pressure from the men at home who are just saying all these things have to come. But sometimes there's the pressure is from within.
Yeah, I've actually seen some girls who do ask their spouses to buy fridges, chairs, and I thought, hey, okay, so when she goes into this home, she has already tagged herself to what they were buying and the fact that they had to even borrow money to buy these things up for her. And she made sure these things were bought. She's the one who was demanding.
Yeah.
Now, when you do that, you have actually set yourself up. You've given up your voice. You no longer have a voice for yourself because the guy will remind you that, hello, I even had to borrow to buy this sofa set. I had to borrow. I bought your parents a fridge. I bought them a house. I even gave them solar. I know people who take solar.
Yeah.
I know people who borrow cows and put them on a car and take them. They've borrowed them because in Western, the culture is that you're supposed to bring cows, okay? And God has blessed me with girls, and my girls, yes, when I look at them, I keep telling them, you're beautiful, my God, for you, it's 1,000 cows. But I don't say it because I'm giving them a price. I say it because, I mean, we've grown up when that's all you say to them,
That's
really.
the value.
That's almost
That's
like,
how you express value.
so I said the talking price is 1,000.
Is 1,000. but and there are always these cultural
So it's
influences.
orientation, cultural construct.
It comes early. But there are all these cultural influences that come in. And they just do not affect the way people see themselves or the value people attach to themselves. But they also affect the way people perceive and eventually choose leaders.
Yeah.
You know, and you are running for woman MP.
Yeah, Kasanda, woman MP for Kasanda district.
How, as in what are some of these the cultural influences have you found where people are like, you know what, in order for you to be an MP, you have to meet this kind of cultural criteria for us to trust you?
David, there are so many expectations, cultural expectations for a person running for political office or even for leadership at whatever level it is. In 2016 when I contested as a woman member of parliament for Mubende district, I was 30 years old. And that time, the question that kept coming up constantly, challenging my contesting, was the fact that I was not married. So I got so many people, including women and men, who kept telling me, akala kalina buli kimu. She's knowledgeable, she's educated, she has the qualifications, she speaks well, she articulates issues, etc., but she's not married. Why
so
isn't
marriage
she
was
married?
more important
So
than all these
marriage became the pivot on which I had to be voted to become a member of parliament. And this is not different, unique to only me. So many women out there in political offices, contesting for political offices, face this challenge as long as they're unmarried.
Why do you think
If they're unmarried and if they are divorced as well, you know, as long as you're single, whichever capacity you are, as long as you're single, you face this. Because
So if you're divorced, do you stand a higher chance than an unmarried, like a totally single person?
I think it depends on how we perceive it, how culture has brought it out. Because if you're divorced culturally, it means that you, the woman, you're the one with the problem. It's not the guy. No one ever looks at the guy being with the problem and what led to your divorce. They always point it to you. Or maybe because she's in leadership, that's why it ended up under a divorce.
Charity, like,
You know?
what is the thing about marriage that makes it such a cornerstone for people to, a basis for people to say, you know what, if you're not married, what was it about marriage that qualifies people culturally?
I think that the whole thing about marriage is the whole question of you have some responsibility. You are running a home. You have children, you have a man, you have some sense of responsibility that comes with it, and you have a balance in thought process. You're not known to be very erratic, because in a home you'll not run a home while you're being erratic. You must have a place of calmness. Somehow you know how to spend. You're a good financial spender. You have good qualities with yourself because you are in a home. That is the assumption from society.
So would you naturally, as like, and it's easy to assume that because we are learned and we know all these things, but like, who would you trust more?
But you see, there are very many unmarried people, and I have friends who have actually not been married, but they're responsible and they have the calmness to understand issues, articulate them, think through them. So, as society, we should not judge people by marriage standards,
status.
but
Let me
by
give
the
you an
values that they present,
Okay.
the ideas.
Let me just give you an example. So you see, while I was in Mwene contesting like that and I was facing that challenge, right next door in Mitiana municipality was Honorable Zake, who was, I think, 24 or something by then. Very unmarried and even much, much younger than me. But the way society looks at us is, remember I told you when a boy is born, they see him as a leader and a girl as a wife. Yes.
Property.
So because for me, I was young, unmarried, they couldn't let me in. But Honorable Zake was young and very unmarried, the same as me, was even praised that was the leader they needed. Kubanga muvubuka muto ajja kusobola ebintu bino. So you see how society looks at us in terms of leadership? That is the perception. Those are the stereotypes we are facing. And this is what we need to fight against, this backlash. Because it doesn't mean that your age is the one going to discuss issues. It doesn't mean that your marital status is the one that going to represent people in parliament. But your ideas and your views. And I'm happy that the people of Kasanda are now looking above that. Because I have told them to rise above those small issues. Otherwise, that's how we lose out on quality leaders. Because I don't marry myself, David. A man has to come up to me and propose and marry me. Because that's culture. So I cannot wait for the man to make up his mind and put my life on hold in order to contest. You know? So the society needs to change certain things. Culture is not static. It's dynamic. It needs to evolve.
Interesting conversations going on here. We're talking about the role of culture and bride price and marriage. How is that affecting women into getting into leadership? You can join the conversations on Twitter and Facebook. The hashtag is FastFast. Also on YouTube to catch the entire episode, FastFast is our name. We'll be right back.